to Eclipse Theory Games, the podcast where we bring you the latest in gaming news, indie reviews, and everything else under the sun. My name is Kendall, and I'm here with my co-host.
Absolutely surprised that you didn't have to redo this because of my mask, but I am your Eclipse Theory Games Bowl champion and king of nicknames, Tony, aka Ludacris Redfield.
Man, listen, I wanted to try to keep as straight a face as possible so that everyone else could have their moment to react, and then just let you introduce what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know we was dressing up. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I told you I would have came dressed as Blade or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's put me at a disadvantage. It's appropriate.
Nigga, I just won the bowl. You should have expected something ridiculous.
It's appropriate. I should have expected it. This is the victory mask, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
I understand, but no, I took that loss. If you didn't catch last week's episode, you should definitely go back and look at it. It was the best one we've done so far. I can say that pretty confidently.
Facts.
We set out to make a full football team out of video game characters, and then our full rosters. We put up a poll on Twitter, X, whatever, and asked everyone.
It's Twitter. It's
Twitter. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's probably the last time you'll hear me do that, but. We asked everyone who we thought won, and Tony came out ahead. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not mad at it, but
nigga, I was scared. It was dark at first for you. I'm like, okay, I'm up like 5 or 6. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I could chill a little bit.
Listen,
by the time
man.
Wednesday came, it was like, I think it was 56-44. Like if you got one more, we'd have been 50-50. I'm like, oh, I can't have this.
Man, listen, it was getting close. I don't know. Whose logic. I wish we could hear the logic behind the votes. You know what I mean? Because I think we both had a pretty good squad. I think my squad's pretty well built. But I'm not mad you took that dub. In our hypothetical game, we'll treat that poll like it was our game, and you won that one. You won some, you lose some. But we are actually here with a brand new episode, a whole new concept. I told you this whole month we're doing some pretty special ideas and episodes here on Eclipse Theory and with Eclipse Theory Games. So, Tony, again, I want to let you break down exactly what we're doing since you were the mastermind behind this whole month of content.
Okay, so as I teased last week at the end of the episode, we are doing a weapon loadout episode. Basically, me and Kendall have been dropped into an arena and we are going to fight each other. And we get to choose our ideal loadouts. Now, here's the thing with this. And I kind of went back and forth with this as I was kind of coming up with the rules on whether or not I wanted to do dupes or not. But we're not doing dupes because I feel like it should be whatever our individual taste is. Yeah. Like our fighting style, I wanted that to be separate. So I did no dupes. We got 7 slots. One of the 7 slots is a mandatory defensive item, shields, etc., stuff like that. We have a max of 2 ranged weapons. You can go in with 1 if you want. You can go in with all 2. You can go in with none, but a max of 2. And we also are given magic abilities in this hypothetical fight. So we have a max slot for 2 of those. Again, same as range. You can do 1, you can do 2, you can do 0. We do have mana. It is capped at 100 MP. So if you pick your weapon, your magic slots, then I suggest you pick something with a slightly smaller mana cost so that you're not blowing through your shit in the first 2.5 minutes of the fight.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
See, and like that was the thing because I was thinking like, do I do 200? But I'm like, that's too much. If you go small, I mean, just spamming magic.
See, with the mana thing, like I was saying in the text, I stuck away from magic because I was like, I don't really even know how to quantify that 100 mana. Like, if I decide that, Giga Flares cost me 2 mana, you know what I mean? Then hey,
that was the thing. Because I thought I texted you. You could do it, but you had to go based on what was in the game.
Yeah, but I feel like every game has like a different system. So I was like, I don't want to have to like.
I did a lot of research into it and I kind of averaged stuff out. So
yeah, and I was not willing to math. I did a lot of work last week. All right, putting that fucking football team together. I've never drafted a roster before, so that was enough. I ain't mathing this week. I'm sorry.
Nigga, you talking to the wrong nigga talking about you don't want to math. What you think I got an English degree for?
Facts. You know what I mean? What you think I attempted and failed to get my English degree for? But we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, no, this is going to be a dope exercise. pretty much treated like a death battle between me and Tony, as if like the way I'm looking at it as we can wield these weapons to the best of their abilities. Like we don't
Yeah,
have
yeah, no,
the
we're not
yeah,
like
we don't
us
have the
as we are.
powers. We don't have the powers of the people that wielded them. So, like, if I have someone's weapons, that doesn't give me their abilities outside the weapon. But the weapons abilities, are still applied, and we have the same level of capability with the weapon. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's. Otherwise, I swear to God, we killing ourselves before we even get to the arena. Like, I'm trying to carry this shit,
nigga,
and I'm just
nigga. I don't
literally.
know how Link does it. Don't know.
Seriously, yep, absolutely. So yeah, we're probably. I think we're gonna start there with the death battle episode, and probably end it off with a little bit of gaming news because we want to kind of. I do want to dip back into that with the podcast and make sure that we covering some of the interesting things that have happened there lately, like Rockstar news. We got some THQ news, but let's start off with this death battle. Let me go ahead and kill Tony first. How do you want to? Do the as far as listing out what we have. Like I'm sure you want to go turn by turn, right?
We'll go turn by turn. You can go ahead and go first. We don't even need to flip a coin for this one because this ain't like draft style.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
there's a big ass bucket. What's in the bucket? Pull that motherfucker out.
Right. Yeah. We're just gonna see what happens. You know what I mean? But okay. So I will start off. For my first weapon. This is kind of like my all-around weapon. This is the one that's gonna be my main go-to, and I went with just a classic. Like, how can you go wrong with God of War, right? Like the Blades of Chaos. They're just that versatile. They have the range, they have the power, they have the fires of hell or something. Like I'm pretty sure everyone who gets attacked by them gets like consumed by those fires. So I think that's a pretty good first choice for me, going with the Blaze of Chaos.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. All right,
Yeah.
so damn. Okay, because is this like going to be like a two-handed weapon and that's your only hand weapon, or you got something else like you just putting on your back and you got something else in the tuck?
So I have a handful of like hand. So you mean like is this my only like weapon of this type? Like my only double bladed? Because I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
about the loadout itself. I
Okay.
have
Okay.
Yeah, but I have a handful of like swords, but I think everything is pretty versatile. Like I got every category covered. I think so. So this can be my only like two-handed. This is my only dual wield weapon.
Okay. All right. So I was gonna go. I was gonna go with two one-handed swords.
Hmm.
Those are gonna be my first two out the gate. But I think I'm just gonna go with a dual wielded weapon
But,
and have that be two of my slots. I'm picking the Kusanagi blade from Tales of Symphonia. If you
hmm.
don't know what that is, there's an enemy in the game. I'm not gonna spoil it for people who plan to remaster. But at one point in the game, you fight him once, and I think he's got like 13,000 HP. And then you go see him again, and he's got like 66,000. Beat him. And then you see him again, and he's got 99,999 HP. And when you beat him that last time, you get the Kusanagi blade. It's the best weapon for Lloyd. That's my weapon. That's my two-hand weapons. So I'm out on that particular category. So that's two of my slots going right there. But I'm with that weapon. I'm with it.
So now that I'm understanding, so two-handed weapons are. I'll give the Blaze of Chaos two slots if that's what you mean. Like since those are two different.
Well, that's your choice. If you want to go like Kratos does, puts him on his back and he's got the Leviathan X, that's cool. For me, I purposefully picked those because I wanted
Okay,
that to be a two-handed thing where that took up both my slots.
got you. So that's two of you. So okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, okay. Well, I'll take that. We'll decide as we go along because I feel like that's cool. That's cool. That works because I feel like that's a pretty versatile weapon. You can use them one at a time.
Oh
Blaze of
yeah.
Chaos.
With the other shit I get, it works.
Yeah,
With the
yeah,
other
yeah.
shit I got,
Okay.
it works.
Okay. So for my second one, I'm gonna get kind of funky with it myself. I'm gonna take y'all back a little bit, back in time. And I don't just mean because of the franchise that I'm gonna
Great,
reference.
great
I mean,
reference for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, by the way.
absolutely, yes, sir. But it's not just because of the franchise, it's because of the weapon itself. I'm picking the Dagger of Time from Prince of Persia. So
Interesting.
yeah, if you're not familiar with the Dagger of Time, it is the weapon in Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time, that allows the prince to travel back in time. He can reverse time short distances. It's actually stupidly OP. I'm gonna take it in the context of like gameplay. Because all I want to do is just be able to like tracer your shit, like just reverse time a little bit, give me a little bit more versatility. And then it's a solid weapon also. He was taking motherfuckers out with that. So that's my second choice.
All right. So for my second choice, I'm going to get my defensive item out of the way now. And I'm going to step into your world for a little bit because,
Mm,
as I've said multiple times in the past, and as I actually said on Twitter today, when I say I don't fuck with something, I put in the time to not fuck with it.
hey.
My defensive item is the Great Shield of Artorias
Okay. I was
from
I
Dark
was
Souls.
not expecting that. And you know
Yeah,
what? So here's the thing. I went through the cycle of not expecting that to where I was like, he probably won't have anything from the Soul series, but he probably thinks that I think that. So he might have some from the and then I went back to no, probably not. I respect it. I respect it.
yeah,
Wow. God damn. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's a tough shield. And I was really, really hard pressed to not pick a shield from the same series. Um, but there's a reason I didn't, and I'll get into that later. But I'll go ahead and tell you the shield that I picked. And I'm glad that you didn't pick the one I did, because when you said my wheelhouse, I thought you might go this route. But I picked the shield with both defensive and offensive capabilities. It's pretty much unblockable when you're holding it down, but you can also kind of Captain America it, that bitch. You can charge with it. And that's the Aegis shield from Hades.
Nigga, that was that was my second choice. I
We
was going back and forth on those two.
Bro, we straight up like Carson Wentz, Jared Goff this, because I was thinking about the shit of Artorias. Like that shit's crazy. But yeah, that shit is real. I was thinking like I use that so offensively, and it's gonna be a great offensive weapon. It's got distance, but when you put it down to block, Hades can't get through that bitch. Like that's a
Ain't
good shield.
touch you.
You know what I mean? So that's gonna be my defensive weapon.
That's funny. I literally deleted that shit when I made that choice. That's
Yo,
fucking
I love
hilarious.
when that happens. I tell you, man. Crazy.
All right, so I am three slots down and four more. I feel pretty confident about my range shit. At least one of them. Now I have to blow it right now. I did pick two magic slots. And for
Nice.
my first magic slot, I'm picking a base spell for Final Fantasy Fire, 8 MP.
Nice. Okay.
Gotta have some
Okay.
offensive shit.
I'm not mad at that. You know what? I'm not mad at that. And you did go with I should have thought about like Final Fantasy just being the threshold. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Um I would have probably sprung for Fire, but
Oh, I
I
thought
like
about it, but I the cost was getting up there, man. When I was
yeah,
doing the research, I'm like, ugh,
yeah, yeah, I
I got
feel
only got
that because
100, bro.
the fact that you got this 8 MP and you like, man, I know the second spell is gonna be crazy. Like this
Yeah,
that motherfucker broke the bank. But no, I'm not mad at it. That's a nice like fireball that bitch. Mario people like you got a little quick fire spell. Um, funnily enough, I almost picked a shield that exclusively blocked magic. I was like, I know magic is coming, and I don't know how I'm gonna be equipped for that shit. I'm just a guy with a bunch of weapons, but we're gonna see what happens. So I guess I'll go ahead and mention why I decided not to pick a shield from like the Soul series, because I picked a weapon from Elden Ring. I didn't want to pick two from like the same series. I never like doing that too often anyway.
I
Um,
knew something was coming from that series.
yeah,
There was
yeah,
no
you
way you
already
was leaving
know.
some shit off. Yeah.
How can I pick weapons and not pick that the Moonveil katana from Elden Ring specifically? That katana has been in pretty much every Souls game, even going back to like even beyond Armored Core. But it was in Armored Core. It was in Kingsfield, which was like their series from before the Souls thing started. So it's got some history and it's a goaded weapon. So that's gonna be my choice. It's a long range ass sword with some
Okay.
moon magic. So I'll take that.
That's basically your master sword. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, I can hang off the magic because I know you ain't got that. My first range weapon, Le Monarch from Destiny 2. Got
Mm.
to get my bow in there. That's my favorite bow in the entire game. Like if I go back now, I know I could pick that shit up and mop up in the Crucible. This bow, incredibly accurate. And if you pull back and release at the perfect time, you got a poison arrow that does damage over time. It only does about 2 to 3 seconds worth of damage, but as a poison arrow, you can keep shooting that motherfucker as long as you time out the release. It's perfect
Yeah.
release, damage every time. Don't even
Okay.
matter where you hit a motherfucker. You hit him in the toe, still doing poison damage.
Man, I'm gonna have some problems on that end. I didn't bring antidotes to this death battle, but I'm not mad. I appreciate the uniqueness of the weapons that you chose. And once again, I'm gonna try to kind of throw you off on my side of things by unveiling my first range weapon, which is actually the portal gun from Portal.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't go for offensive here. I went for I'm controlling space and time. Like I got time with the dagger, so I'm like seeing what you do, reversing time a little bit, and then using a portal gun to get wherever I need to go to avoid you or get back at you. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a pretty good 1-2 punch right there.
Okay. I got something for that. I got
Okay.
something for that. My second range weapon, Tripcaster from Horizon.
I knew Horizon was coming up. Yep.
I'm cutting off the arena early, so you can port all your ass around all you want. You better not land in one of them traps.
Man, listen, you better hope you got your ammo upgraded a lot. this is going fast. Um, Nah, tripwire was like one of my. It might be my most used thing aside from like the actual bow and arrow in Horizon. Fucking
Bro,
people up with that.
that and traps. Like I tell people all the time, man, like you struggling in that game is probably because you ain't trapping.
I completely forget the traps exist all the time, and I'm like, yo, my inventory is full of these. I haven't been using any of them, and I just start
Bro,
putting them down, and shit
it'll
starts
change a
blowing up.
fight quick.
Yeah, facts, facts. I still need to finish Forbidden West. I kind of burned myself out because I played through all of Horizon, Zero Dawn, and then
You did
try
Frozen
to
Wilds
get
DLC on the
yeah
back end too.
yeah I did the Frozen Wilds DLC, which was really dope. Then I started Forbidden West, and I was just like too Horizoned out for a minute, so I have to jump back into that. But thankfully, I can avoid wires, so I'm gonna just be on my toes about that. So for my second range weapon, I'm gonna go with the pistol from Control. I forget if it has a name or whatever, but it's the have you played like you play Control, right?
Yeah, I got it on my PlayStation right now.
Cool, cool. Yeah. Nah, the pistol in that game is crazy. It actually gives me a wide range of ranged weapons. I'm not even sure how ammo works. I can't remember, but that's a weird ass gun with a lot of
Oh, but it's
versatility.
so fucking cool.
It
It's
is.
so
It's
fucking
fucking
cool.
one of the dopest weapons I've seen in any game, and I need that motherfucker as my sidearm for sure.
You know what's wild? I didn't play that game for the longest until like I want to say whenever the definitive edition dropped. I think they dropped it on PlayStation Plus, and I finally
Yeah,
downloaded it. And then it sat on my PlayStation forever until like I'm really into like SCP archives and all
yeah,
those stories and
man.
shit like that.
This game
And
was
then
made for you.
niggas kept telling me like, "Yo, it's
Yeah.
basically just that on a video game," and
Yes,
I'm like, "Why haven't I been playing this shit?" So I went
man.
and re-downloaded it. So when I get some time, I'm gonna get into it.
Man, it's so goddamn good. It's one of those games where like for like a solid week, it's just all I was playing, and I got a great gameplay experience. And then I finished it, and there's more content like stuff to do after the game and DLC that I really want to play. But that like chunk of gameplay, it was just an experience that whole week, like just being delved into that world. It got my game of the year for that year over like I think Jedi Fallen Order came out that year, but I had control. That game was amazing.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
controversial
gonna have to
take.
get into that. I'm gonna have to get
Yeah,
into that.
absolutely. Yep.
All right. Well, I only got one slot left. My second magic slot goes to Cura 9MP.
Mm, okay.
Gotta stay
Okay.
healthy. Gotta stay a little healthy. Just especially
Yeah.
now that you got the fucking dagger of time. I can't.
Yeah. I mean, I thought of all this different ass shit to do and all these ways to get around you, but I didn't think of healing myself at all.
Yeah. No, I'm going full blown boss battle, nigga. You gonna get
Sheesh.
me
Okay.
down you gonna get my health down and I'm gonna heal up. And you gonna be like, who
Yeah.
the fuck do you think you are?
um, okay. So I think I'm on my last slide too. I'm pretty sure I got all the rest of this. Yep. So my last slide is my heavy weapon. And for my heavy weapon, I had a couple options, but I had to go with Reinhardt's hammer. It's actually a rocket hammer from Overwatch. And
Yeah.
again, we
I knew that
assuming
was
I
gonna come
can.
back around after last week.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like Reinhardt not getting on my list in a football team is just criminal for real. But this hammer is a hammer, my friend. And the thing about it is, I didn't realize that it was actually rocket propelled itself. Like the hammer has a rocket behind the actual, like, the large part of the hammer. I don't know what the fuck that's called, but it's like got so much more to it. Like that rocket propel energy and that little blast that he does is a part of the hammer's tool set. I'm pretty sure. Like I looked that up. So that gives me another little long range ability as well as a big ass hammer. So
Yeah, you
yeah,
can't go wrong with a big ass hammer.
absolutely. But yeah, I think that actually wraps it up. So
I ain't gonna front. If I had the time, I would do some type of animation and just simulate this shit. Because fuck AI, we're not doing all that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I don't even.
I wish AI wasn't such a terrible fucking thing. Because this would be great to do this with. But
Okay, you
fuck
know what?
AI.
This would be awesome to do this with. And here's my thoughts on AI, real quick. You know, we got some time in the episode.
We have plenty of
Um,
time. Yeah.
I feel like it should be a tool to be used. You know, like we use AI all the time in so much of the computing that we do. Everything is fucking artificial intelligence. Like I'm sure, like if you break it down to the lowest layer, like it's just a really advanced form of AI that we're using now. Like I don't mean that everything is, but there's so many different aspects of this being used already to where what we're doing now, the AI that's like getting popularized now, it should just be kind of something to bolster what humans do. Like I remember the controversy over Secret Invasion's intro, and I remember hearing a
Yeah.
take. I remember like looking at it first and being like, "Oh, this is really dope looking," and somebody be like, "Yeah, it was made by AI," and I kind of could tell after they said that. I didn't think about it, but
It has a very distinctive look. Like,
yeah,
yeah, once you
but
know what it looks like,
the thing about that intro that kind of throws me, and Secret Invasion is a whole nother conversation because I didn't hate Secret Invasion like everyone else, but um that intro looked like it was made to look like that. Like they used AI to get that AI effect because it gave like the shape shifting vibes. And I can dig that. Like I understand there was like 8 artists that came out and were like, yeah, we actually worked on this. Like this is our project. We just used AI to make it. If that's what is being done, then I can dig. Like I don't know if that's the whole story. I'm not excusing Secret Invasion for doing that shit. But we got to find a balance between like taking our jobs and like replacing everybody with machinery and like using this to make shit better. Because
yeah, there's
it
just definitely some room for nuance in that shit.
yeah, it's gonna pop up. It's gonna be here. So
Yeah, but I guess the best way to put it from what you're saying is we need to use AI the same way T Pain uses autotune. We already know T Pain can
exactly,
already sing. Just put a little
facts.
something extra on
Exactly. Now, if I mean, I can't think of a person that's really out here singing who uses auto tune to make themselves good when without it they'd be bad. You know what I mean? But like, think about a rapper who like uses that shit. They're not hitting those notes. You know what I mean? That is what I'm with you on. I'm against. Like, you don't have the ability to do this. AI can fill in some gaps, but it shouldn't fill in for talent. You know, like it shouldn't give you
facts.
the
Facts.
rest of the way. Like I've always wanted to make a game. Making a game is actually one of my primary goals in this. Like, I want to use this platform to write about games, and then I want to write about games until I can learn enough about them to write games, you know? So I know that AI would make that easy. Like, I'm sure that there's ways that I can skip the whole programming stuff, like, but I feel like you lose a lot of the heart and the soul. Like a lot of people didn't have the impression of that Secret Invasion intro that I did, because you can tell like there's something about it that's just like off in a weird way. The second time I saw it, it was like evident. I couldn't believe I didn't see it the first time, but
Dog, it's like when you know it, it is glaringly obvious.
yeah, it's like when you see a picture of like a beautiful woman or something, and like, oh, she's really pretty, and then you're like, oh, it's AI, and then you start to notice like, oh, it's a little off. Like her
Yeah, it's something wrong with
eyes
her
ain't the
cheeks.
same. Like her fingers are, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Cheeks is this
So
big.
it's not gonna be like, I mean, just like deep fakes, all that shit's horrifying, right? But
Dog.
it's something that we gotta figure out how we're gonna live with. Like this is here. Like it's a thing. I don't know. It's a weird time to be alive. I say all that to say, shout out to the dudes who run Death Battle on YouTube, because if we could make that shit, we would. But I'm not even about
Oh,
to.
like I said, I ain't got the time. By the time we do it, we gonna be on episode 75, and this ain't gonna matter.
Facts, facts. Like it would be cool to come back to this though. That would actually be dope as hell. Like one day in the long distant future, still
Yeah,
rocking with Eclipse.
we might if I can figure out a way to do it, I might
Yeah,
take everything we just did here and actually do one, and we'll just do a whole episode where we're just doing commentary over fight.
bro, that would be incredible. I would, man. You just started my mind off on so many ideas with that. That's a good idea.
We're gonna figure this shit out. We're gonna
Yeah,
figure this
we
shit out.
will. There was another thing I wanted to ask you, just off the strength of this topic, before we get into like some of the news that's happened recently. I know we just did weapons, like our ideal loadout essentially is what we created here. But whose powers would you want? If you could take one video game character's powers, like their actual abilities, who would you choose?
Oh,
I know. I mean, I'm asking you this, and I'm telling you, I don't know if I have an answer, but I'm just throwing that out there. Like that was an interesting thought experiment,
whose
right?
powers would I? Damn. Um,
Stuff.
I,
And
I think I would have to go with Kratos.
okay, I'm not mad at that.
I think that honestly, Kratos, I think just fits me. He's antisocial as all fuck.
that's
Like,
that's that's a concerning statement. I need you to understand that. We might
say
need to have
nothing
a
you ain't already know.
but damn, I mean, to say it out loud, Jesus. Nah,
Nigga, I ain't scared of me.
yeah, I like that. I'm actually, yeah, that's a life affirmation right there. I ain't mad at
Nigga,
that.
nigga, I know who I am.
Facts,
Uh,
facts.
but no, I think yeah, I
Okay,
think the rage based powers, the just the strength, the I mean, he's athletic as all fuck too, for especially for how big he is.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think I have to go with that.
I am not mad at that one. And I'm trying to like avoid like superheroes and stuff, just like with the weapons.
Yeah,
I
see,
ain't want to be,
that's what fucked me up
yeah,
because I'm like,
yeah. Spider-Man, obviously, like
yeah,
obviously,
you're
Spider,
right. Look,
like, but um, for some reason, my mind just will not stop screaming Delson Road from Infamous Second Son because his powers are dope as fuck. Like,
his I was about to say his traversal abilities is fire as
yes,
hell.
yes, and that's actually like the main thing. Practically in real life, what I would want. Do not give me rage, death powers, please. How I can tell you a time today where I would have been a menace with those abilities. Like
Nigga, nigga,
just like a
nigga,
5 minute period where it's just like
nigga.
I don't need to have that shit.
6 hours ago.
You know what I mean? Like, nah, please, I don't need that. But you give me some cool ass, like, I'm whatever Delson's doing. Like, it could be any number of powers. He's got the smoke shit. That's awesome. He's got the neon. I'm not gonna spoil
The
this too
neon,
old. That's
the neon shit was the one I
man,
was thinking of when you said it.
incredible, bro. Like, really, really fire. The digital shit came to mind for me too. Like, that's different as hell. Like, his powers are, and I mean, honestly, we just going off of what he took in the game. If you're going off the concept of Delson's powers, he takes powers. So I'm just
Yeah.
taking powers. Like I'm
And I
doing
mean, that
whatever.
nigga just took the smoke shit, just walked up to a burning rock or whatever, and just
Yeah,
sucked it up. I'm like, oh, damn,
man.
that's how we doing this. All right.
Fucking, you're rogue, but with items. Like, nah, bro, you broken. That's crazy.
Right.
So yeah, he might actually be my choice. That's a tough question. It's a lot harder than this. This
I
one.
want to run that. I want them to run a sequel back for that based on the bad ending.
Oh man, that would be very. I mean, Infamous. It kind of. I mean, I won't say that it lost that because I like Second Son a lot, but it didn't have that, and that's kind of was the cornerstone of the series for 1 and 2. That whole dark side stuff.
Yeah.
That shit would be dope. I just want them to make more. Like that's a good ass series that does not get the
Oh,
credit it
we need
deserves.
another one. It's
Like
been too long.
like outside of the realm of DC and Marvel, superhero shit could be so fucking cool,
Yeah.
and I just don't know why we don't get a lot of it.
First Light was fire too.
It absolutely was, and that should have springboarded more. And I guess that did launch them off to do other things, other projects. But man, I miss Infamous. I really did like that series. But I feel like that's actually a good place to transition because speaking of properties that deserve more video games, more love, that just kind of work. We got a little bit of news today from THQ Nordic. They had like a showcase. I didn't see the whole showcase. I'm not going to like break down the whole thing, but I took note of a few announcements that I kind of wanted to bring up. And I know you said you checked out a few too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few highlights for sure. One thing that I want to make sure that we talk about is the fact that they've officially announced the video game adaptation of The Last Ronin, which is going to be crazy if they do it right. Are you familiar with The
Uh,
Last Ronin? Oh, yeah, okay.
I
Okay.
I have never wanted a video game more in my life and been so fucking scared
Yeah, I
of
get it.
how it could turn out. Because THQ Nordic has put out some good stuff. Black Forest Games is, they did Destroy All Humans, but it just feels like that was a missed opportunity to put that in the hands of like
I mean,
somebody a little bigger. Like
yeah,
that's one you kind of like, hey, look, man, I know you just scored our last 5 points, but I'm giving the ball to Kobe.
one word, rock steady.
Oh,
They could have, man.
that would have
But
been the one.
yeah, yeah. But I'm happy we're getting it. And it's such a dope
Facts.
concept
Facts.
that I'm really just hoping that it pans out in a way that where it doesn't fit. I mean, like Ninja Turtles has a reputation in video games.
Dog, if
They
it's a
make some
seven,
really
I'm
good
happy.
games. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, straight up, give me a solid game. Like, surprise me in how good it is. I
Yeah.
honestly want something that's like I want an 8. You know what I mean? But a
No,
7,
yeah, no,
I'd be
we
fine
we
with.
we looking for the big blowout 8.5s,
Yeah,
nines and shit. But if it's a seven, I'm cool. Because
yeah,
conceptually, dog, that shouldn't have worked. And I'm talking about just from the graphic novel standpoint. That
man,
story should not have worked.
it's gonna be crazy. Like,
Because
I'm
they
very
our whole lives, they've been nobody would have ever thought to be, hey, we're gonna kill three of these motherfuckers off.
yeah, and making a mystery who the one that survived was make a dark. Honestly, learning what I've learned about the way the Ninja Turtles has gone in like the comics and everything, there's so much potential there that I didn't realize growing up. I'm
And
just like, oh, these niggas are
because we
right.
just grew up
Motherfuckers
on
are
the
cool.
cartoon. We like
Yeah,
know it was a
yeah,
comic until I was probably 17.
right, right. I mean, I don't know when I found out that it was. Probably when I found out that they like met Batman, like, um, or when I learned, I feel like I heard somewhere that originally it was canonically the same accident that gave Daredevil his powers that gave the Ninja Turtles their abilities. Like the
What?
spill, yeah, like it was like a car accident and it was like a chemical spill and the chemical splashed in Daredevil's eyes and that's what gave him
And
his ability.
ended
And it
up
went,
in the sewer.
yes,
I
yeah, like
mean, they all
I,
are. So, yeah.
I very distinctly remember hearing that, and I don't know if that's verifiable or not, but it just stuck in my mind forever. But of course, they like more DC tie now, so it's
Yeah.
weird. It's interesting. But anyway, that was a dope announcement. I'm really excited about that one. There was
Is that the
one,
same level of rumor from when we were trying to figure out what Arnold's last name was before you just kind of offhand guessed it in a
you know
Facebook
what?
comment?
Honestly, I want to believe short man. Like I want to
No,
believe.
that's it.
I do. I believe it. I don't know that they've said it like explicitly on the show, but I don't care what
No,
nobody
they
says.
they didn't say it on the show, but I think one of the creators confirmed it like
Mm,
6 or 7 years ago.
okay. All right. That's all
I
I need.
think I think that's what because I remember like hearing it and immediately getting on Facebook and tagging you and some shit like, dude, you
Yep.
you got
Yeah,
this
no,
shit.
yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. It started somewhere. Yeah, it started there, I believe. Probably right around when the movie was coming out.
Yeah.
Um, that's yeah. I don't see. This is how the podcast should go. I don't remember how we got to A. Arnold from the last Ronin, but bravo to us for bringing
Yeah.
that around today.
Like y'all,
Um,
if y'all don't know this by now, this podcast basically operates the same way our friendship does. This is literally how we talk to each other.
straight up every time is not really hard, but there was at least one other announcement. There was one other thing I want to talk about from the TSQ situation, the showcase that
Did you
they
see the
had.
South Park shit?
That's the thing. That's literally what I'm talking about. But before we get there, because that's not that's a less pleasant conversation that I want to have.
Okay.
Uh, I want to talk about a game called Outcast: A New Beginning. I don't know if you saw this trailer for this game. It's like a third person open world action adventure sort of game. It might be a shooter. I don't know, but
No,
very
that sounds like just another Tuesday.
it man. Listen, it's got this beautiful alien world that you traveling across, and you're doing a lot of flying. The first shot of the trailer instantly probably is going to make anybody think of Anthem just because of the way you fly in the
I
game.
thought of Anthem before you even got to that part.
Yeah, yeah, just they ruined flying and it fucks me up. But
Yeah.
because flying is dope and I want to fly in more shit. I love that, but this game actually looks really interesting. It starts off looking kind of like just your average third person action adventure game, cool art style. I don't know how much substance, but as it goes on, like you start to see that you can like take care of the planet that you're on, like take care of the animals, stop people from fucking up the nature, cultivate the area, and like it'll actually affect what's happening in the world. And the
Oh
world is
shit.
yeah, it sounds
The
really
Michael
dope.
Jackson
And
simulator.
exactly, like walk around in there. I thought Okami immediately, like for whatever reason, but
That's a good
this
yeah, that's a good call.
this game looks really cool. I like the art style a lot. It's very unique. I don't hear that premise too often, and it's one that I really like when I do hear it, like Okami and things like that. So that's one to check out for sure.
Yeah, I'll check that trailer out when we get done with this. Everybody, if you haven't played Okami, please go do that. Like
Please,
when you're done listening to this.
if you enjoy Zelda, that game is like the close. I mean, Capcom used to make Zelda games, and they made this game in that same vein, and it just feels like that. Like
Yeah.
it's not the same, but it feels great. And it has one of the
Yeah,
coolest
didn't it come
mechanics
out
ever.
like a couple years after Oracle of Ages and Seasons?
It was even right. It was probably closer to Minish Cap, right? Because
Okay, yeah, it might have been closer to that.
yeah, it's like Game Boy Advance era, but yeah, same deal. Capcom produced or developed Zelda game. So yeah, there was anything else from? I know before we get into South Park, I don't know if there's anything else you saw at the THQ thing.
No, that's we can just go ahead
Yeah,
and deal.
so
I
I
need to deal.
understand. So if you haven't heard about the South Park game, they announced a new 3D South Park game called South Park
No
Snow
date.
Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a multiplayer game. It looks like a battle royale, or I couldn't tell if it was like a MOBA style game or a battle royale style game. But what I can tell you is that it's not what anyone was asking for. Um, and we got to stop. We just
So
have
did you
to.
play the last two South Park games?
I haven't
Thick of
played them like
Truth
to
and
completion.
Fractured Butthole?
Like I finally got them. They've been on my list forever. I know I'm gonna love them. And I started
Both of them are
Fractured Butthole.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
Both of them are really actually you got to play Stick of Truth first.
yeah. I have to. I have to.
Yeah, you got to play Stick of Truth first because it
I
actually
remember there was
it
like
does
a
lead into a little bit.
there was like a game trial, I think, or something, like or a demo or some along those lines of a Fractured Butthole. So I tried that. Like I got to play how it played. But yeah, nah, I'm gonna play them both in order. And that's what makes it so disappointing,
Yeah,
It's
because
a weird
nobody was
announcement.
asking for this style of South Park game.
And the thing is, it's not like it's just like, oh, we had a cool idea, because it could work, something like that. Like make a fun South Park game, whatever, who cares? It's the fact that this is so obviously like, hey, this is what the industry's on right now. We're doing a multiplayer game. I don't know if it's going to be free to play or have a bunch of microtransactions or whatever, but we just gotta chill, man. Like this multiplayer craze, you gotta have some substance in your games. Y'all are kind
Yeah,
of missing. I'm not here to judge the game before I know anything about it. Like we haven't seen anything. Who knows? It could come out and be like a smash hit with a huge fan base. But from what I've seen, it just looks like a cash in South Park game, and I don't want to go back to that. So
and the thing is that I think one of the larger issues with the gaming industry in general is this perceived need to keep up
yeah,
or to have your hand in whatever's hot. Like, you don't have to. Just because battle royales and MOBAs is the shit right now, don't mean you gotta make that. Because everybody ain't got that in their bag.
thanks,
Like
thanks.
Fortnite, I mean, Fortnite was a fucking accident.
Literally,
Like that's
literally,
this ain't something that like people saw coming over the horizon and then somebody went, all right,
bro.
let's put our shit into it. Fortnite was gonna be a regular ass game.
It was already. This was a separate mode. Like this is not even the main Fortnite shit, but it just took off, and now it's everybody's shit.
Yeah.
But you have to be authentic. Like it has to happen organically like that, or it's just not worth doing. Like
Yeah. Or in the case of an Apex Legends, you just have a team that has the understanding of that because they did
yeah,
Titanfall, they've done Call of Duty. They have
right.
somewhat of an understanding of how multiplayer works. So they can look at a battle royale and go, okay, but this is what we can do with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that and a good enough idea. Like Apex was a great idea, just kind of blending the hero shooter and the battle royale in such a perfect way with the Titanfall universe already established to back it up.
Right.
everything just worked. Like it's like a a Goldilocks planet. You know what I mean? You have to be just the right distance away from the damn sun for
Yeah.
life to for this to grow and flourish. And that shit grew and grew, and it's continuing to grow. I don't know that all these other games. There's been good games that have gotten shut down. We talked about a few episodes back
Facts.
how we were. I love Knockout City. Like I really had fun. I don't really play
Yep.
a lot of multiplayer shit, but that game was great. It's
Yeah.
gone. You cannot play it.
Knockout City, Roller Champions, like
Yeah, you know what
I
I
mean,
mean.
those obviously aren't battle royales, but like that idea, they're good. Like those are good games,
Yeah,
but they're
the
not
structure.
sustainable because now there's too
Yeah,
many.
exactly, exactly. The market is flooded, and that game, those types of games are so based on the audience, like the continued support of the audience.
Yeah.
I respect that. I respect wanting to build that up, but it's you got to have a good enough premise. And I'm just like, this South
Because
Park
even the
game,
asynchronous shit, that was hot for a minute.
yeah,
Evolve came out and that was really big. Turtle Rock thought they had something with that. It
man,
lasted about 2 weeks. And then everybody
facts,
was like, yeah, we're done here. Dead by Daylight is hanging on, but that's just by strength of Twitch.
facts. I
And I
mean,
mean,
those,
they got Nick Cage and they shit. So, that's going to bring more people in because Nick Cage is just the king of like weird, goofy shit that gets people to watch.
yeah, he is.
So
Well,
that'll work.
those asynchronous hard game type of games like the Friday the 13th Predator, those are working, and I'm not mad at that. Like they found a formula. It took getting the kinks out, and they kind of released them as smaller things. Like now they're doing a Killer Clowns from Outer Space one, which is just a strange idea, but we want to see how that plays
We're
out.
going all the way back for that one.
Right, but
They don't have Attack of the Killer Tomatoes DLC. I don't want it.
facts. Like you got to really go in.
You got to,
You know
yeah,
what I
you got
mean?
to go all the way in with all the B and C movies. You got to go all the way in with that.
Exactly. But I mean, I'm not going to say that this game is going to fail. I'm not, rooting against it. I
We
will
don't want it
see.
to fail.
We'll see exactly. You never room for that. It's just like not really what anyone's asking for.
Yeah.
Um, Now that kind of closes up my THQ side of things. I do want to wrap the episode up with a little bit of conversation about the Rockstar news we got today. If you guys haven't heard, Rockstar actually partnered up with I forget the name. Do you remember the name of the studio?
Hold on, I had it written down.
Yeah,
CFX.RE, which is
my
one
guy.
of the biggest role play communities, if not the biggest role play communities in GTA. Like
Right,
these motherfuckers are legit. Um,
and I
I mean,
respect it.
the shit's entertaining. Like I don't watched a couple of these videos. Like I
Okay.
don't understand how it became such a thing, but it fucking works.
Honestly, man, because GTA Online is something that was a pipe dream for us when we were 12. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like we grew up saying, "Oh man, we could just play this all together. We could like run around and do everything that they're doing." I mean, from the chaotic, gun fights to the real estate ownership to the role playing, and the role playing has really, really grown and flourished and taken off. And for that reason, Rockstar actually has, employed that group to work for them, and hopefully implement some of those quality of life improvements that you want to see to help creators do more with like GTA 6 and even other games that come out. And I love that. Like this is one of the coolest pieces of video game news I've heard in a long time. Just off the strength of having that awareness of your audience, what they're doing and what they like and how you can make your games better. That right there is the antithesis of the South Park game because like nobody's asking for the South Park shit and Rockstar is doing something shocking that everybody can get behind. And I really respect this move. Like I really do.
I like the move. Now let me step in with my normal dose of pessimism, because as you know, I'm known for being pessimistic as all hell. Um, I'm hoping that this is done from a good place, from a place of
Mm,
listening to the fans, from a place of wanting to expand the world and all of that stuff. Because remember, Rockstar was against the mod and shit for a minute,
yeah,
and
specifically this group.
right, and they finally let up, and then they grabbed them. So I'm hoping it's not something we can control what you guys are doing type of shit,
Yeah,
and it kind of stifles what they got going on. Because if this is genuine and they're really trying to like expand this shit, and this is good for gaming as a whole. Because the
mm-hmm.
modern community has kept a lot of shit alive and has changed like the direction of a lot of games. You're
Facts.
seeing a lot of sequels come out that have features that are based entirely upon mods that came from the first game.
Yeah. 100%. I mean,
So I'm hoping this is like some legit shit where they really like taking care of this.
yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of we talked about this before on another episode, but the whole Sonic Team situation where they'll employ people that make Sonic fan games because, like, yo, you're making a dope Sonic thing. Come make it with us and make some real Sonic, merchandise, make an actual Sonic product. I think that if it goes that direction, and I would assume it is because if I'm that particular group, I wouldn't necessarily agree with it if it wasn't. I would assume, I would hope that that's the situation, and if not, then it's just kind of another symptom of what's going on. Like the control that people want to have, it will give them a little bit more control over what's happening with them, and I don't want it to take away from what the community can actually do. Like I don't want to regulate it or anything like that. Just let them do them, but under the Rockstar brand. That's the ideal way that this can work out. So I feel that. Definitely feel that.
So
Well,
the other thing Rockstar did, uh, and it's causing quite a bit of stir, is they have announced the Red Dead Redemption port to
yes.
the Switch and PlayStation consoles. So where you stand on this conversation as far as like the port thing and versus the remake remaster?
This is the other side of Rockstar. And this is where I don't question your pessimism as much because Rockstar they just going Rockstar. You know what I mean? Like they know what they have in these games. They know that they tried to remake or remaster, I guess, the trilogy of GTA games that everyone loves.
Man,
Everyone hated it. It was terrible objectively. This one seems like it's doing even less and charging $50. And it's just like, why is it not playable already? Like, why is this not backwards compatible? You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna milk every dollar out of this that you can, and we know that because it's Rockstar. They're very much Nintendo, but for grown-ups. Like, they do all the same bullshit. Except that Nintendo has like a trillion fucking franchises to actually put out at a regular clip. If Nintendo was like four or five things, like imagine if Nintendo was only Zelda, Mario, and Metroid. You get a game every 8 years, like fucking
man.
Bethesda. But Rockstar is on that type of time. They've kind of never been the most consumer focused. They're more so like focused on the product itself and like I won't take anything away from their games. Like I'm not saying I love Rockstar. I love what they do. You know what I mean? I've been playing Rockstar games since I was a kid. I'm talking about them this way because they're someone that I do. They're a company that I do appreciate so much. But moves like this, on top of the shortcomings that have happened recently and the quietness in general from Rockstar, just kind of throws me off. Like I feel like they know that their product is going to come out and be so hard to argue against. They can kind of move however they want to. I'm never a fan of companies that move like that.
So number one, and I will freely admit this in this particular case because I do agree mostly with what you said. I'm part of the problem because I'm gonna buy this motherfucker because I want Red Dead Redemption on my fucking Switch.
Absolutely, that sounds awesome. I mean, it does.
And from the standpoint of that particular game, because I mean it's what 13 years old.
Yeah,
Putting it on the Switch, if they had just released it on the Switch, they could have probably gotten away with this
yeah,
because nobody would have expected 4K or 60 frames per second or even crazy overhauled visuals.
right,
The
right.
fact that they're dropping it on PlayStation consoles as well is what's getting them killed.
Yeah,
Because if they drop it on the Switch and they charge 50 for it, you could kind of justify it by saying the Switch is has such a huge install base, and so much of it is people who have never played this game.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like you can justify it just off the strength that, like, the reason it stings on the PlayStation side is because it was already in that ecosystem. Like, that
Yeah,
game exists on PlayStation consoles. It's just this version for this console is only playable if you drop to 50. So,
right.
yeah,
And
I don't
that's
disagree.
honestly to me, that's where it's fucked up. Like I said, if it
Yeah,
was just on the Switch, I you could almost excuse it because there's only but so much you're going to be able to do upgrading it for the Switch.
right.
So you could kind of let it go. The other thing that I kind of found interesting from the reaction from it, and in some ways it's no fault of the fans, but in other ways it is because there was no announcement of this game at any point. Rockstar never said we were going to do this. They never opened their mouths up. Some people did some data mining and found a new logo, which that's what people do. They data mine. That's how you find information.
Right.
But they found this new logo and immediately went, oh, it's a remaster. Rockstar didn't say nothing. Either way. And that's that fine line we have to walk in the gaming community. And in general, quite honestly, is to what degree is somebody responsible for your expectations?
Yeah. And so, that makes sense.
And that's where I come with like, it's kind of our fault as gamers, and it's kind of Rockstar's fault as a company. Because once that logo dropped, they could have just said what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that logo had been out for like 3 weeks at that point. But on the other hand, it's like, if you build yourself up to that, and I don't open my mouth and I never said anything, how are you going to get mad at me for what I dropped?
Right.
I didn't promise you anything.
The only issue in this particular case, and you're right as far as like all the assumptions that this is going to be a remake, which personally I don't even want a remake because it would. I feel like, I mean, I don't not want it, but I want Rockstar to focus on making new things personally. Like I would like for them to be a company that might outsource their remakes similarly to like how Bluepoint does stuff. But the only difference with this situation is that I feel like this version of Red Dead should be at least like a remaster. Like,
if you're going to port this, you need to at least upscale the visuals.
Yeah, something's got to be.
Because I mean, even Nintendo did that with Metroid Prime. Like, Metroid Prime Remastered looks great.
Yes, and I mean,
and it looked great on the GameCube.
Right, exactly. What I was about to say, but. And I mean, Red Dead Redemption probably doesn't look terrible, but it's not going to look like a modern game. And
no, because based on the trailer I saw, I mean, it still looked good, which I think speaks a lot to their engine. It still looked good, but I'm like, even on the Switch, you could have bumped this up a little bit.
Just any type of, I don't know. It just feels like such a, hey, here you go, $50, you know. Look, and that's Rockstar.
Like I said, man, I'm part of the problem. I just want the motherfucker on my Switch. Like, look, Switch don't have a lot of open world. We don't get a lot of open world shit over there.
Yeah, you know you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And portable Red Dead Redemption sounds pretty amazing.
Oh, like, sorry.
Listen, I'm of the mind that there are some whales that boycotting is not really going to hit as hard. Like Rockstar is not going to lose sleep.
Like choosing not to buy this shit is not. GTA 6 is coming either way.
With that being said,
like drop this to get the money.
Now, if you felt strongly about it and you were like, "Oh, this is," then I would say, "Yeah, don't spend your money." Like I feel strongly about certain games and things that I don't play or buy, but I already know them companies ain't losing no sleep over me either. It's just like a personal thing. Like for as far as changing things, you buying this goddamn game is not going to change much.
But like you said, if you feel strongly about it, obviously stand on your shit.
Right.
I respect it. I respect the fuck out of that. Stand on your shit.
Always.
But if you just kind of iffy on it like me, it's like
don't beat yourself up on it.
Whatever, man. Like I want to play the motherfucker. I'm gonna buy the motherfucker.
Right. This is not one of those. There are some cases where it's just like maybe
there are some cases where yeah.
But, at the end of the day, man, it's your money, and I feel like that'll probably be dope. So I ain't mad at you. Which is what we thought about GTA on the Switch, but here we are.
Yeah, ain't seen an update for that in a minute. I didn't. I still ain't bought that motherfucker. I'm like, if we all drop it to like $3 or something like that, one of them desperation sales, I'll holler at you.
Yeah, and even then, maybe we'll see. I'll just go play the old ones somehow, somewhere.
I downloaded the old ones on the PlayStation before the definitive edition dropped, so I wouldn't have this issue in case they tried to take them off.
Smart. I wish I had that foresight because man, there's so many games that are just lost. We got to do an episode about like game preservation for sure.
Oh yeah,
because that's a real issue right now. But in the meantime, I think this is a good place to go and wrap this one up. It's been a really great episode. Let us know who you think. I know we kind of had a whole litany of conversations and topics, but don't forget that we tried to kill each other, and I want to know who you think would murder who. Definitely let us know on Twitter. We might put up another poll, just kind of see what you guys think. Definitely stay engaged. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, rate us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, so we can make this a show for you guys. Follow us on Twitter at Eclipse Theory. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, Eclipse.theory, myself at Atlas Kenny, and Tony at Pico05. Man, definitely stay locked in. We love you guys' engagement, and we appreciate you. But we are going to go ahead and bring this one to a close. Until next time, I've been Kendall. This has been Tony, and make sure you keep gaming. Take care.